Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video right here on Linea. Linea is not a new cryptocurrency project, but they're launching their own coin next week, and that's a new coin, and it's going to be a relatively major launch. Now, last week around this point of time, I made a video on World Liberty Financial and their launch. It's not going to be that big, but it's pretty big. It's a multi-billion-dollar launch. And I think that there's some opportunities with it as well. I mean, at this point of time, you can already trade pre-market futures of Linea, as you can see right here on Binance, but on some other exchanges too. And I think, like given the price that it's at right now, I think the valuation is actually quite interesting. But either way, I will make sure to tell you what I think you need to know regarding Linea. And then we'll also talk a little bit about the launch, which is the 10th of September, so it's Wednesday. So make sure you have that on your calendar if you do want to trade this. I think this is going to be an interesting one to trade, but more on that a little bit later. Let's get right into it. So what I wanted to start off with, and I have a bit of a script here to the left, is what Linea is, right? So Linea, some of you might know this. I mean, probably when you're watching this video, you're saying, of course I know what Linea is. But basically, it's a layer 2 solution to Ethereum, right? So there's a lot of competition in that space, but it's very much its own network, which at this point of time has a total value locked. So the amount of money that's locked on the network is $1.29 billion. That's relatively high, and I'll show you some good things about that, because not only is it a layer 2 blockchain on Ethereum, or a layer 2 solution to the Ethereum blockchain, I think that's a better way to say that, but their partnerships are actually quite major. Like we've had several layer 2s launch in 2024 and 2025. Most of them don't do too well because there's a lot of inflation, like they release a lot of tokens and they don't really release a novel product. Linea is very, very focused and centered around Ethereum, right? Like it really adds value to Ethereum. Some of the people on the boards of Linea are also on the boards of Ethereum and have a lot to do with Ethereum and also have a lot to do with SBET, right? Which is one of the biggest treasury companies of Ethereum. They have already said that some of the Ethereum that they have in their treasury is going to be deployed on Linea. So there's actually quite a lot of hype around this, and I personally quite like Linea. I mean, for example, one of the things that they've implemented is that every transaction will burn ETH, right? So 20% of the fees are burned, and that's Ethereum, right? Because ETH is the gas token as well on this layer 2 network. So that tighter connection that it has to Ethereum makes it Ethereum beta, and I am still personally bullish on Ethereum. I think most of us are. So therefore, I need to be slightly bullish on this as well. I like the tokenomics a lot as well. And by the way, this is not bait, right? This is genuine excitement. It's something new, right? Because you have, for example, if you look at the tokenomics, like 75% is ecosystem growth, public goods, and research and development. 10% early contributors. I think the airdrop, there's going to be an airdrop, is part of that, and 15% consensus treasury. As far as I know, they have not raised any money from outside sources except for Consensus. But Consensus doesn't necessarily need to sell. I mean, Consensus is a huge company who have already made a lot of money. So that I like a lot, right? I like that a lot. And then if you take a look at the fundamentals, which you can see right here on the screen, on this chart, the green line is DEX trading volumes. At this point of time, they're doing $180 million a day in DEX trading volumes. App revenue is also greatly increasing. So that's decentralized applications on the network. And the TVL has increased to, at this point of time, $1.29 billion as well. And there's no sign of stopping. So not only is it very much a unique layer 2 solution, where there are a lot of layer 2 solutions, this one is quite unique, and they have a great team and some connections, but the network at this point of time is doing great as well. Now, if we look at the pre-market price, it's relatively bullish. You can see that on the 1 hour time, we fell a lot, to be fair, afterwards, but we have found some sort of a bottom right here. And I think this is, I think we have a good chance to actually rally a bit higher. We got into the 236 VIP right here, but ultimately we had a break of structure here when we broke above 2.8 cents. And I think we can hold that break of structure. But ultimately, look, I'm not trading the pre-market, right? So I do think you need to be careful about this. And this is also, look, one of the main reasons why I wanted to look at the pre-market trading of Linea, it looks pretty good, right? So my thoughts on this are bullish. I think we can either form some sort of stability right here on top of 2.5 and 2.7 cents. But I think it's actually a little bit more likely that we're going to get continuation into the 382 fib at least, towards 3.5, 3.4 cents. So those are my thoughts. But at this point of time, at the current prices, this means that the fully diluted valuation of Linea is, I believe, $2.4 billion, which is a lot of money. But if you compare that with how Linea is growing right now, their TVL is already at $1.29 billion. The apps on there are making real revenue. The chain fees are relatively low, but okay. But they also have some good connections to much bigger companies where much more money is stored. I have to say, I think a $2.4 billion fully diluted valuation, so that's not the market cap, I think that's relatively low. All right, so therefore, when we actually launch, to talk a little bit about that, so that's Wednesday, next week, I do expect a sell-off initially. Like I said earlier, there is an airdrop, and farming for that airdrop has gone on for years. All right, so there's definitely going to be farmers that just need to get that capital. They've put so much capital and so many hours in that they need to sell. I understand price will probably dip, but I think if the price dips down to 2.5 cents and we get a good reaction there, or if we drop down to 2 cents or 2.25 cents, I think this is a buy, and I personally am going to be updating you on that. But second of all, I think I'm going to be relatively aggressive with buying up Linea as well. So those are my thoughts. Relatively bullish on this fundamentally, also relatively bullish on this technically, although I do expect some sort of a sell-off after launch. But more on that later. More on that next week. I will keep you updated on this if you're interested in that. So make sure to subscribe if you are. But for now, have a great weekend. Take care and bye.